Hey guys, welcome back to Project Devo. This episode, we are talking about the issues that I think I see going on in the top three series of NASCAR, or should I say, even top four series of NASCAR, meaning ARCA, Craftsman Trucks, O'Reilly's, and the Cup Series. And some of the biggest things I see is one of them that was taken care of, but with this Michael Jordan 2411 lawsuit going on with Front Row Motorsports and NASCAR, where they essentially got the charter system, I would say, somewhat fixed. Now that the charter systems are pretty much once you own them, you own them. There's no expiration dates on them. Um, it should actually give these charter systems a certain value. You shouldn't really see too much fluctuation in charter costs going into the future. And if you don't know what a charter system is, I'll explain it to you really quick. So basically, what the charter system is a couple of years ago, NASCAR decided that they were losing some sponsorship money and they wanted to be able to guarantee the top teams decent sponsorship money. So one of the way they thought about doing that is guaranteeing them a spot on the race on Sunday, kind of like F1, where you have 20 spots. Those 20 spots are your spots. You're not losing those spots. So if you have a car that is fixed, runnable, you can run that race that weekend, and you're guaranteed a spot on race weekend. So NASCAR figured they do the same style thing, except they opened up these charters that can be purchased by each team. Each team was allowed to have so many, to purchase so many. So the net teams went out, bought these charters and whatnot, but they had expiration dates on them, kind of like CBAs. Well, about a year and a half ago, these guaranteed spots, some of these spots became available. When these spots became available, it allowed certain teams to sell at a certain rate. So you had these charters going all over the place cost wise. So you had some of them that would be cheaper, like in a couple like $10 million range, stuff like that. And then you had some go as high as 50, $60 million range. And it basically was supply and demand. If there was more demand for one because there was like one left instead of there being like four or five left, that price of that last one would skyrocket through the roof. And that's one of the biggest problems that Michael Jordan had with it was because he went in and bought one of these charters, and he may have paid the way it looked like he paid more than their teams did, and that's not essentially we'll say fair to that. So that when they went to renegotiate the charters, Alpha Prime and Front Row. No, so yeah, sorry, Alpha Prime. Wow, I'm all over the place with this. But 23XI or 2311, Michael Jordan's team, and another team, which I believe was Front Row. I could be wrong. I gotta double check that. Um, Went out and sued NASCAR over basically saying that they were running a monopoly because one, let's say they didn't want to do sign the charter contract and they didn't want to race for NASCAR anymore. If they would go out and start their own series, NASCAR has contracts with these tracks that are out there that other racing stock car series at the same level can't race. Which, as you know, if you follow motorsports and NASCAR enough, there is really no stock car level competitor or promotion that competes against NASCAR by itself. It's literally just doing its own thing. It's not like you can say, hey, well, IndyCar and F1 are competitors and they're in the same market. Like that would be different, but there is no version of that that isn't NASCAR. There's just NASCAR and that's it for stock car racing in the United States. So at that point, they were like, hey, like, first of all, you have the charter system, which there's no set pricing on, which is insane. Second of all, with the way the new charter agreement went, the charters expired, I think, in like 2030, which means everybody had to repurchase up. So, like, how can you sell something if your team's folding that you don't own? You know what I mean? Like you're renting something. So how are you selling something that you're renting? So at that point, with one of the things that all the teams wanted, they wanted these charter systems to be fixed, to be permanent. So like when you bought into your charter, you had that charter until you either folded the team or sold the charter, right? And then it would either return to NASCAR or sold back to NASCAR or whatever. So they settled. The charters are now full longevity, meaning you purchase them, you own them. And now the charters all kind of have like a set price now. So because of this, so it's better for the sport, in my opinion. It's better for teams because now these sponsors can go say, hey, like I can sponsor any one of these teams with a charter, and we're guaranteed spots on Sunday. So with that being said, that portion is somewhat fixed. There's still some stuff in there that's not great. But I think they'll work on that going forward here because NASCAR did come out and say that they wanted to work towards that. And they were also looking at replacing some of the higher ups in NASCAR due to some of the issues that they were having going back and forth with this case. Moving on to the next thing, which I think is actually it's a bigger problem for talent in NASCAR at the moment, and that is this unmistakable push for certain talents to get to the top tier series because of not who they are or their talent, but what they bring, not even what they bring to the table, but like an essential what they are or who they are. And I don't, like I said, if I don't care who races in NASCAR, if you have the talent to drive the car and not put it in the wall every weekend or not cause wrecks to other competitors on the weekends, 100% more power to you. You deserve to be there. That's good, no matter what you are, female, male, any ethnicity out there, doesn't matter to me at all. However, there is pushes inside of NASCAR to put, let's say, certain people of certain demographics. And where I see the most problem is actually on the female driver side of things. And it's not so much on the female drivers themselves, it's on NASCAR and allowing this certain type of situation to play out. So I understand that NASCAR teams need to make money. I 100% understand that. I understand that sponsorships bring in money. I understand that as well. I also understand that certain sponsors will only go with certain people because of certain aspects or certain things. I get it. And what teams are looking at when they sign these drivers isn't just can they be competitive, can they win races, but can they essentially bring money in? I get it. I absolutely get it. However, where I want to get at is NASCAR has had this problem, and I think they're doing a disservice to the drivers when they do this. It's not so much that they're doing a disservice to the fans, which they kind of are, but they're also doing a disservice to these drivers and to these competitors because they are now allowing these people to develop. And I'm going to give you two instances. Oh, I can give you a couple instances, but I'm going to give you a couple instances here of issues that I see. And it's not because of the one driver I follow, which I think the kid's awesome, and I think he deserves every single shot he ever gets in NASCAR because I think he's a talented driver. And then I'm going to point out a couple people on the other hand that got pushes, we'll say, or like promotions or pushes when relatively they weren't ready for those pushes, and it stunted their growth and may or may not have hurt their career. And I don't think they're bad drivers. I just don't think they were ready to be at the level that they were put in. If I'm making sense to you. And I'm going to start with this, okay? First comparison I'm going to have here is I'm going to go out there and go talk right about the perfect example of this is Haley Deegan, okay? Haley Deegan ran ARCA West for a while, had a couple wins, did some good stuff. Ran ARCA for I believe it was 2 seasons. She ran ARCA. I think her best finish in ARCA was like 7th or 8th or something like that. And then she immediately got a full-time truck series ride without consecutive wins together, right? Which to me is okay. I can see it. If she's consistently finishing races in the top 10 in ARCA, then that's fine. Trucks, right? But you can tell she wasn't ready. She was completely struggling, and it really, really hurt her career. And then the next thing that happened was because of who she is, because of the sponsorship money that's behind her, they gave her an Xfinity ride. So if she can't finish in the top 10 consistently in the trucks, why the shit is she getting a chance in an Xfinity ride? Because all that's going to freaking do is put her in the back of the pack because one is probably for a team that's just looking to get money out of it, which is screwing her. Two, she's going to be stuck in the back, which isn't going to help her develop at all because the people that you want to be running with are people that are better than you. And if you don't have equipment to run up there, it's not fair to you. It's not. It's just going to stunt your growth. Now, if you were a driver, like a very, very talented driver that can, take a, back marker car and make it run up in the top 10 or the top 15 or top 20, fine. But unfortunately for her, she wasn't there yet. So that in turn hurt her career. Now she's not even in NASCAR altogether. I mean, she's running ARCA West, I think, again, but like, why? It just doesn't make any freaking sense to me. Same thing happened to Natalie Decker. Natalie Decker did the same thing, and I'm not talking bad about these women at all. They're great drivers in their own respect. But the problem is, I mean, they're not given enough time in there because each driver takes time to develop. It's not like every driver is like, oh well, they'll just be there for 2 years and they develop and they move on. And perfect example. So Raja Karuth, right? A kid I've been following for a while. Okay, he last year he finished I think second or third in points in trucks. Okay, finally he gets rides with good Xfinity teams this year, and it's not full time, but it's decent teams, decent equipment, and he's getting time. But the funny thing is, these like I said, Natalie Decker, Haley Deegan, all got rides before he did, and he was consistently in the top 15 for the last at least 3 years in the Truck Series. To me, you're promoting these people before they're ready, and it's not just hurting the sport because you're pushing too hard. NASCAR shouldn't allow teams to field certain drivers just because of who they are and the money that comes behind them. Like, I understand that the teams need to make money and it's a business and everything else, but it's essentially hurting the sport by moving people forward that don't already. Another perfect example. So next weekend, the Truck Series, right? One of I think it's Nice Motorsports is they put Travis Pastrana in that car, which I mean he's run NASCAR before. He's back in the late 2000s. He ran I think two full seasons in Xfinity or O'Reilly's, whatever it's called now, and he did awesome there. I mean, he didn't do awesome, but he finished consistently, meaning he wasn't putting cars in the wall and everything else. So I get that. It's like a legacy sign. Okay, that's fine. But you're letting Cletus McFarland, which don't get me wrong, I love Cletus McFarland. I love what he's doing with his YouTube channel. I absolutely love what he's doing with where he's trying to climb the ladder in NASCAR. And I understand he's doing that for one of his close friends that just died, Greg Biffle. However, the fact that just because he has the money, now it's one race, so I'm not ragging on him too bad here. The fact that the team was just like, hey, we're going to put you in a car, and I get it's at Daytona, because you ran 3 ARCA races last year, or however many you ran. To me, it's if it was anyone else besides him, it'd be a safety issue. Not just, shit, he could get in that truck, he could win the damn race. But like, I'm not saying he doesn't have the talent to do it. I'm not saying he's not ready to do it. What I'm saying is like, if it was anyone else besides someone that we know has a decent pedigree of driving from all the stuff that he's done on YouTube and whatnot, if it was anyone else, like another ARCA driver that ran 3 races that was coming up through like grassroots, I'd have a serious problem with it. But because it's him, I'm not ragging on him, but I'm using this as an example. Like, there is guys that have ran ARCA, cut their teeth in ARCA, or finished in the top 10 in points for the last couple of years here that deserve shots at multiple races or full seasons at the next level, and they're not getting it because the NASCAR is allowing the teams to chase big money instead of chase talent. And it stunts drivers like Raja Karuth, for example. I mean, I think the one who's really going to hurt off this, and I think she's a great driver. I'm not ragging on her at all. Tony Bredinger, she did half decent in Arco, okay, but there was other drivers in Arca that deserved a seat. Okay, now I'm listen. If she does great this year, I'll eat crow all day long. However, I just feel that there was other drivers that could have fit certain seats or certain aspects better. Now, if she just does great, more power to her. Not against her at all. I'm just saying this is a problem that we see, and I hate to see it ruin people's careers. Like, for example, if she, does good this year, she gets an Xfinity ride, whatever, great. Now, I would say if she struggles this year and all of a sudden next year she gets an Xfinity ride because someone's looking for money or sponsorship, that's not helping her. That's not helping her at all. I mean, yes, and there's going to be drivers that are out there that I won't say are talentless, but their talent has a ceiling, and they're gonna get stuck at ARCA, or they're gonna get stuck at trucks, or shit. Fucking Jeffrey Earnhardt drove O'Reilly's for I don't even know, like 8 seasons, and the only time he really had time to shine was like for like the six. He had a 6 race deal with Joe Gibbs there for a while, and he was doing pretty damn good, and then the deal fell through because the sponsor backed out. So like, sponsor ran out of money. I think that company actually went bankrupt. But yeah, like I'd rather see guys like these systems be used like minor league sports more than being used as money hunting. And I feel like a lot of it's being used as money hunting. Now I could be completely fucking wrong, but that's how I feel. So if you guys like this episode, I know it's a little bit of me ranting. Like, follow, subscribe. Like I said, this is normal off our normal topic, but this Project Devo is everything automotive, guys. It's not just tuner culture. It's not just JDM. We're going to be talking about all different types of motorsports as stuff comes up through motorsports news, stuff like that. Like I said, we're trying something new this week. Like I said, like, follow, subscribe. Um, we are, like I said, we are getting to. I've been waiting for some stuff to come in so I can get some of this stuff edited here, some equipment to come in. A lot of it was on back order. It is. I can get to these viewers' rides sooner. We will see you next time. You guys have a good one.